All right, welcome to Gym Life Podcast. New episode with a special guest in the house. I had an opportunity to see this young lady do some pretty incredible things a couple weekends ago at the USAPL Tournament of Champions. Broke the state record in deadlift. Cranon Worford, thanks for joining me today.
Hi, yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you. I know we've been trying to put this together since that meet.
Yeah.
And we're finally together. And you've got a great story to tell because I learned an awful lot about you outside of your social media, which we'll talk about a little bit as well.
Yeah.
But your backstory is one of a lot of ups and downs in 23 years, or I guess in a few years of competition or competitive life.
Yeah.
Yeah. When did it all start for you? Let's just go back even before college, right?
Yeah.
When did you find out you had these abilities? And not just in powerlifting, we're going to talk about that, but you kind of started off as a track athlete, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. So I've been running track since I was 7 years old. Played volleyball and stuff like that. I grew up with a father that played in the NFL, so it was kind of like destined for me to be an athlete. He used to put me through like these crazy football workouts. I'm like, dude, I'm not cut out for this. But I started then, started doing Girls on the Run. I think my mom got me into it, was really good at that. And they was like, nope, she's running track. So I've been running track. And then as I got to high school, then I was doing AAU. I was like, oh, like my dream is to, go D1 for, track and stuff like that. And then that's what happened.
Yeah, so track was like, it was your lane for a while. Then that's kind of where it all started.
Yeah.
Having a father in, or any parent for that matter, in professional sports, was there some pressure to, or was it not pressure to you? Did you ever have those moments where you're like, I'm just not going to do this stuff. I want my own path. I don't want to get into athletics.
No.
Okay.
No, it was definitely, I want to say it was stressful. I wouldn't say kind of rewarding as well. But a lot of pressure. He was big on, being a straight A student and, being a student athlete first. So, just both, but I guess it paid off in the long run, just pushing me to be the best I can be. So, and really instilling a lot of stuff that helps me today mentally. I hated it then, but now that I'm older, I'm like, oh, okay, that's why you did that. Makes sense. Okay.
Right. Well, it sounds like, that's kind of the perfect mentor to have, really.
Yeah.
And not that we don't appreciate our parents in any case, whether or not they've done it or didn't do it, because that wisdom generally is much better than ours at the time. We could both agree.
Yeah.
But having your father be an athlete and knowing that it's not just about being an athlete, it was also about learning as well.
Yeah.
And those lessons, of course, you took right along with you to the University of Kansas.
Yes.
Yeah. And you were a sprinter in Kansas.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. So let me ask you, what were the events that you were in, and give me some of your numbers. I know there's a lot of people out there that appreciate speed with strength.
Yeah. So which is so crazy because there's a lot more to the story than I actually put out there on my own social media page. So I actually went to Western Michigan my first year, transferred, did my 3 years at Kansas, loved it. I was a 200, 400 runner, mainly a 400 runner. Wish I was more of a 200. Everyone's like, oh, you got to run the 1 and 2. Like, you got these thighs. I'm like, no, 400.
Yeah.
So about 54, 55 for my 400, and 200 was about 24. It's so funny too, because the reason why I was actually transferring, I was supposed to transfer out and finish my last year in Cincinnati. I wasn't supposed to be powerlifting right now. I was supposed to be at Cincinnati. So, there was an Olympian that ran at Kansas, and I'm one of those girls that you can't beat me until you show you can beat me. So everyone knew I was strong, and we had the belt squat. We didn't have the free barbell squat, and we actually went head to head, plate for plate, seeing who could squat more. Obviously, you can squat a lot more with the belt, but
right.
We did that, and the whole team was watching. I wish I had it on video, but I outbeat him. I have no idea what was on the thing. It was a lot though. It was a lot. It was at least 6, 7, 8, somewhere up there, 100. So it was a lot. And my coach had a meeting with me the next day. He said, listen, I've never had an athlete as strong as you. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know how to turn your pure strength into speed. He told me straight up, I don't know how to coach you.
Right.
And I'm looking at him like, well, if you don't know, I don't know, So, I'm like, do we switch groups? Do we train differently? What do we do? He was like, you should be running for your 200. You should be running 23 lows, with that type of strength. So I never got to figure out whether or not, the coaching was the problem or training or whatever it was.
That's a unique, that's a unique thing to hear, right? Because a lot of times you don't see the humility in coaching.
Yeah.
And when you come across an athlete and all of a sudden you're like, okay, I really don't know what to do with you.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because I would have pegged you for 100, 200 as well.
Yeah.
When you said 4, which is great. And that's an awesome time. Wow, you're really motoring because you're not, what are you, 5'3" maybe? Did I get that wrong? Is that right?
I'm 5'6".
5'6"? Oh, jeez. Oh, my God. Sorry about that.
I'm 5'6".
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess I've never stood next to you back to back. Yeah.
What?
Well, I think maybe because all your power's in your bottom, right? So
Sure.
everybody's
Okay.
got their eyes down, I guess, as I'm staring at her mom over here. Yeah, making sure I'm okay and not going to get in trouble for saying that. But I get why I apologize.
No.
Well,
Yeah.
anyhow, I guess I would peg more 400 runners to be a bit taller. Anyhow.
Yeah, more skinnier.
Yeah, for sure, because you do have that powerful body, that lower body, which is indicative of a sprinter. So, yeah, so your coach is like, I don't know what to do with you. And that was kind of your first opportunity for yourself to really say, oh, my God, where did the strength come from, right? Because I imagine you trained weights and things with sprinting and track, right? I mean, what was the programming like back then?
Horrible.
Okay.
It was not, I feel like we didn't really take weights seriously, which I hated. I think that the training at Kansas was not where it needed to be as far as versatility for athletes. He trained us all the same, and every athlete isn't the same. Every athlete's body isn't the same.
For sure.
What works for one person might not work for me. And I feel like my coach was really stuck in his head in that way. And I'm just like, dude, like, maybe if we tried this, like, this will work better for me, like, repeat 600s, I should not be doing that. I should be sticking to the short sprints. The weight training was, people was like, oh, well, you've been running track and that helped you with your strength. Those weights did not help with my strength. We didn't really do, we didn't even, I never touched a barbell squat for years.
Yeah.
We didn't do that. So we didn't really get to do much. It was, different stuff, but nowhere close to what I'm doing now.
So natural ability really played a big role in kind of where you found yourself, even in track.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of us, right? Either you're fast or you're not, kind of thing. And all of a sudden, everybody's saying when you're in high school, hey, you should run track. Next thing you know, you're beating everybody else and you're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
But a lot of that comes from natural ability, as we both know. When you're younger, you don't put a lot of time in the weight room anyhow. So we all kind of get there through that path, one way or the other.
Yeah.
And then it surprises me though that you get off to college and the programming isn't suiting you. And when you hear that cookie cutter thing, boy, we just want to cringe, don't we?
Yeah.
Because we see that a lot in strength sports now too. Fortunately, there's some more, there's smarter coaching out there that now that realizes we're all individuals and we require a little bit different attention in different areas. Mm-hmm. But you started with your strength, a lens was through that one sort of fun moment in the gym with a belt squat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I was like,
when
ooh.
was that?
That was, what year was that, man? I think that was my junior year in college.
So we're 4 years ago, maybe?
Yeah.
And then after that, did you pick up a weight, or was that just sort of in the memory banks?
That was just, I thought it was just a cool memory. I was like, oh, like, I'm really that girl. Like, that's cool. It wasn't like I was like, something sparked and I was like, maybe I should do this. No. Yeah. I just was like, okay, cool. I need to transfer schools. I did not really know what powerlifting was. I didn't care for it. But that was not even in my mind. I was like, I want to be an amazing track athlete. Yeah. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm like.
Right. Your focus was there no matter what. Okay, this is fun. Yeah, that was cool. Showed off a little bit, but didn't really get my attention that much. Just put it kind of in my memory banks. But all that kind of led to a different path for you because not too soon after you got injured, like a lot of athletes do. And tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I have which is so crazy. I've been running track my whole life. Never had a serious injury, anything that would take me out of a sport. And it was in April, I tore my Achilles.
Which is a serious injury.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how'd you do that?
Actually, which is so funny. Everyone's like, how'd you do it? Like, so I don't do it in the gym. I did not do it in the gym. Right. I actually was in Chicago. I had a meeting out there. My mom was with me and my aunt, and we were actually robbed. And I went to go chase after them and snapped it. So it was like a pretty crazy story. But jeez. Yeah.
It didn't warm up properly, I guess. Right? I didn't want to stretch before you took off after that guy. Yeah,
I think I maybe my adrenaline was pumping. I didn't feel it. I was like, did it hurt? I'm like, I didn't even know. The doctors told me I just sprained my ankle. They were like, you'll be back in the gym in 2 weeks. You're good. I was like, bet. I have nothing to worry about. And then a few days, I'm like, this doesn't feel right. My mom was like, your Achilles is so soft. I'm like, they're not supposed to be soft.
Oh, God, that gives me the cringe thinking about it.
Yeah,
No
it was
kidding.
Rough.
Wow, that hit you like a ton of bricks. So you go back to the doctors, they discover it's a ruptured or torn Achilles, which requires surgery to repair, right?
Yeah.
It's over with.
Yeah.
I mean, just like that, the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
All this track sort of ideas and dream you had is gone.
Yeah.
Where was your mind?
Well, actually, I wasn't running track at the time.
Okay.
Yeah. So just to back it up a little bit, after I was done with Kansas, I went into the transfer portal.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, bet, like, I can't give up on my dreams. This is what I want to do. Went into the transfer portal. I was supposed to, I was on the roster for University of Cincinnati to run track.
Yeah.
And because it was my fourth or third D1 school, I wouldn't have been able to be on scholarship. So I was like, dang, like, I don't want to pay for school. So I kid you not, I literally was like, now what? Like, I'm not running track. Don't know what I'm doing. My whole entire identity revolved around me being a D1 athlete. Didn't know what I was doing. Started doing content. I'm like, okay, this is fun. Little gym content. Just cause.
Yeah. And we're going to get into that too. So this is kind of the beginning of that.
Ish.
Sort of. Ish. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It left you a little more time to do it, I guess, right, at that time.
Yeah, but it wasn't. The reason why I was so hurt about the Achilles injury is because I had just broke not IPF. Whatever federation I competed once by myself, and I broke technically it was a world record, but I wasn't able to get it because it wasn't on a world stage. So
okay. Oh, wait a minute. Let's back up here.
Yeah,
now.
that's
okay. We're jumping around now. That's okay because there's a lot going on here. So you've got the track. You've got that period between Kansas and Cincinnati. Technically, that you've got some time.
Yeah,
that's when you got into powerlifting.
Yeah.
Right. So we can narrow it down to that time frame, generally speaking. Anyhow.
Yeah.
You found yourself pretty good at it. You're in the gym. You're doing some weight training. How the heck did you end up at a powerlifting meet?
I did a video. I still wasn't even into powerlifting. I was just lifting just because I wanted a nice body, and I liked making content. And I had a video of me repping 315 first with proper form. I had done it before, but horrible form.
Squat or deadlift?
Squat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was repping 315 and it went viral, and I got so much hate for it. I got a lot of love, but a lot of hate. They were like, yo, like, she lifts fake weights. She's not even straining.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, who's she working out? Like, like just coming at me. And I was like, why are people so upset? I didn't really understand the gym community still. I'm like, is this not normal? Like, I was confused. They were like, bro, if she was lifting this, she would be breaking records right now. I was like, what records? I did a little bit of Google research, and I was like, oh, shoot, like, I'm close to some records. Like, best way they would I'm not lifting fake weights is I get on stage and do it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
So I had this, my brother's kind of like trainer or whatever. He was not really a coach for me, but kind of a coach. He was like, yeah, sign up for this meet, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, bet. I completely forgot about the meet. I was in LA. I was in Miami, barely lifting. I wasn't doing anything. I get back from my trip. My mom's like, are you going to this meet? It's like in 3 days. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, should I go? She's like, no. You already signed up. Yeah. Might as well go. I was like, I don't have a coach. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have a belt. What am I supposed to? She was like, just go. I'm like, okay. So we just wing it. We asked a few people like, hey, like, you got a belt I can use? They're like, yeah, you need socks. I'm like, socks? I have socks. They're like, no, deadlift socks. I'm like, what are deadlift socks? They're like, do you know what cues are? What are cues? So I'm at this meet, didn't know anything. I had no idea what I was doing. It was, I wish I could be like, it was a disaster. It was amazing though.
But it wasn't. Yeah. And you're pissing off a bunch of people right now that are watching this going, what the hell? It's not supposed to happen like that.
Yeah. So my first powerlifting meet was it was the APF. That's what it was.
APF?
Yes.
Well, you're not fucking around. Excuse me. This is NC-17, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was the APF.
Yeah.
It was in, I think it was in the beginning of April.
And your numbers from that show, I don't even tell. Okay, tell me.
It's
going to make us all mad. Go ahead.
I would say pretty conservative number. So my squat was, what was it? Like I think 346 or something like that, which was okay. And
your class is 75 kg? What was your class? Okay, that's better than okay, but keep going.
Yeah, so it was bench was I'm not great at bench, but it was around like 165. I still didn't know what I was doing, so they were like, "Don't do too much because you don't want to like fail or anything like that."
That's true. Right.
And my deadlift was like 440.
Yeah. Very impressive. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
I got the records for the
so
squat.
you essentially went over 1,000 pounds your very first meet at a 75 kilogram class
Yeah.
competitor,
Yeah.
which is crazy. Yeah. Coach Guerin. Who's Coach Guerin?
Yeah. So, which is so funny. Well, it was cool to get those records. I didn't understand the difference between federations.
Yeah.
So I actually have a video, which is so funny. He's my coach now. He's amazing. I met him at that meet.
Yeah.
Everyone was absolutely in shock. Like, no, but they were
I
like,
bet.
yo, who is this girl?
I'm in shock right now.
Yeah, I came in here, didn't know, and everyone was trying to help me. Like the people working the meet, they're like, do this, that's like someone coming into like a track meet and they have no idea blocks, none of that stuff.
Right.
And they're just like smoking. They do like a 200 or something.
No, that's like somebody coming into a track meet, not using blocks in bare feet and winning. Okay, let's be clear. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, so everyone's just like, bro, like this girl, like, okay, my first lift, they're like, whoa, like opening up with like, some big numbers. They're like, oh, like okay, it was good. And then after my squat and I got that record, there's this guy there and he was like, like, I know you're going to go crazy for deadlift. I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, I'm winging it. Yeah. After my deadlift and I broke that record, good numbers. The first thing I walk, everyone's like praising me. It was a great feeling, praising me and stuff. He grabs me. I have a video. He grabs me like this and he's like, where's your mom? Like, I need to talk to your mother. And I'm just like, oh, like she's right there. Okay. He's like, no. Like, do you have a coach? I'm like, no. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah. Guy's dream come true. Just walked into the powerlifting meet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Coach Guerin, is he still your coach?
Yes. Yeah. And he will stay around coach. He is awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, good people find a way to find good people.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. I'm just trying to just take all that in, right? Because your life changed. Essentially, right? I mean, did it? I mean, sort of.
I mean,
you were an athlete. You were a good athlete. I mean,
yeah.
But maybe not changed, right? Maybe it just completely went into a different trajectory. Powerlifting, who'd have guessed?
Well, you know what? I guess you're right. It did kind of change because I found a purpose.
Yeah.
After track and, Cincinnati didn't work out. I didn't know what I was doing. And I'm like, dang, like I don't have a purpose. I don't know what I want to post. Like, I don't know what I want to do. And I found this talent that I didn't even know was a real talent for me.
Right.
It just came natural. And it worked out. And I was like, wait, hold on. I could really do this. But I don't think I'm still processing the future I can actually have with like the numbers. Because even now I look at other girls' numbers. I'm like, I'm so far from that, so.
Yeah, I mean, you are, but you're not, right? Because you're still very raw.
Yeah.
I think you would agree. I mean, you're learning so much right now in this short period of time.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a chance, of course, to see you in action 2 weeks ago off this Achilles, which is your first, maybe second meet off the Achilles then, was it? Or have you done a few prior?
No.
That was it, right?
Yeah,
it was the first one.
Yeah.
And I remember I was commentating that. Mm-hmm. And of course you and I had met prior to that, but I was paying close attention, and every time you'd pull something, I'm like, okay, and I didn't know about your Achilles. And I was like, okay, something's going on with her. If you listen back to the commentary, I'm pretty sure she's got an injury or something. I had no clue.
Yeah.
And these were still impressive numbers, but it was error. I mean, everything you were doing was error. And then I find out, of course, as we move to the deadlift, that you're going to go for the state record. And of course you did. And it was error. And then you did it again. Yeah. And it was equally as easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, I know. I was kind of nervous, but also like, pretty confident. It just felt good to be back where I'm at. So, a lot of people ask me like, oh, like what, how did you get those numbers? Like, was it your coach? Was it, do you take supplements? Do you do this, do that? I'm like, no, like, right now, any numbers from here on out, I can be like, yeah, Coach Guerin did that. But like these numbers, the numbers I did, those are the same numbers I was doing the week before. Right. So it feels good to be back.
Yeah, right. You did mention that, right? Mm-hmm. They're about the same numbers.
Yeah, pretty close.
A good, easy way to come back, kind of just open up with what you left off with.
Yeah.
That's a nice way to come back.
I know, yeah.
No setbacks there at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, Amanda Lawrence, look out, I'm telling you. Well, you don't even have to worry. She'll never be in your class.
Yeah.
Which is amazing about your class, right? You're 75 kilogram women's athlete, but I want to make a special note to say that you also live for the USAPL. You're drug free.
Yes.
Yeah, which is an entirely insane thing to think about with the type of numbers you're doing.
Yeah.
But of course, worthy to mention because that's impressive as anything else you've told me already.
Yeah. It's kind of my goal is kind of to I don't really know too much about like the power. I'm still learning about powerlifting, and when it comes to like tested, untested, and stuff like that, I personally don't have an opinion about it. Do what you want,
That's right.
Yeah, but people have asked me. They're like, a lot of people do think I take stuff, and I'm just like, I don't even know. Can't name one. I can't name one brand. Right. I was like, I don't even know what that stuff is.
Don't bother.
Yeah. But my coach is like, you know what you're going to do? I said, tell me what I'm going to do. I said, that's not fair. I have to compete against girls that, maybe like, find their way competing with me, even though they're, on stuff. And he's like, and you're going to beat them. You're going to beat them natural. Yeah. He was like, you're that good.
I love Coach Guerin already because you're exactly right. There's a time every now and then where an athlete comes along that can defy those odds.
Yeah.
And certainly watching you compete and watching what you're doing with the numbers you're doing, my opinion is not worth much, but I would agree with Coach Guerin. I think you have that opportunity, a really unique opportunity to do that. But in the meantime, you got to light the world on fire, right? So you've got these shows that are coming up now. You're in this groove with powerlifting. You're creating your own brand, essentially. You and I talked about that before the show because you're social influencing a bit as well.
Yeah.
And that was a part of kind of your life when you, more so as you got injured and you found a little more time to do that because you actually got recognized by some companies right away.
Yeah.
That brought you on board, which is a super unique opportunity that a lot of men and women alike within the fitness community, dream of that happening.
Yeah.
And those companies were Gymshark, you mentioned, was one of them.
Yeah.
And then the other ones were?
I've had Able, Raw Gear, EHP Labs, Rain Energy. I've had a lot of brands reach out and they're like, yo, like, we love you. Like, what's up with the contract? I'm like, all right, bet.
And this was mostly a result of the powerlifting viral?
No, not at all.
Yeah, okay. Because there's a little bit of a mix going on here.
Yeah, I was just a fitness influencer before I was a powerlifter.
Yeah, which makes sense. Right? You're fit, you look great, and you've got this unique sort of, this athletic ability that just carries over in all these different genres.
Yeah. And
you kind of played off that a bit, and next thing you know, people are knocking at the door.
Yeah, not anymore.
Which is crazy to me, right? And that's what's wrong with the industry.
Yeah.
Is because do we put that little value into people when all of a sudden they get injured, and sadly they still do, which is weird.
Yeah.
Because the best story ever told is the comeback story.
Man.
Why wouldn't I want to keep that athlete on board with me?
Yeah.
Because that is a hell of a story. And guess what? Even if they came and knocking now, you'd be like, hey, F you. Thanks for leaving me because I've got bigger pastures now to look at. So that's a shame in my book. And I couldn't believe it when you told me that. I was like, really?
Yeah.
It's an Achilles tendon. Any athlete comes back from that. Don't get me wrong. It was a long road, and I'm sure you had some pretty dark moments where you're like, I am never going to be the same again.
Yeah.
But this is not uncommon anymore.
My doctor told me that.
Yeah. He told you we're coming back?
No. He said, you probably,
Yeah.
Just straight up told me, he was like, listen, because I actually tore 2 tendons in my Achilles. He told me 9 out of 10 people don't tear it when they tear their Achilles. He was like, you tore it. I forgot the name of it, but it's like a smaller tendon to the left of your Achilles. I tore both of them completely, just snapped.
Well, maybe not as a sprinter, I guess, or a 400
maybe,
runner, I guess. But anything else? Why would anybody say that? Of course, I mentioned before the show started, I had my hip replaced at a young age, and my doctor said the same thing. Don't ever squat or deadlift again. Mm-hmm. Well, hey, listen, replace it again in 10 years. I'm not going to squat and deadlift, so let's not. So I'm sure you're thinking the same thing. We're still going to push the envelope, but now you've got a decent team behind you, right? A good team. You're at F3.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of good people down there.
Yeah.
You feel like you're in a good spot to make this comeback glorious, I guess, right?
Yeah, which is so crazy. Everything seems so surreal still because it felt like yesterday when I literally couldn't even walk, and, it sucked. I had worked so hard to, get these sponsorships and, get these deals. I even had an agent, and he was just so excited for me in my future. As soon as I tore my Achilles, I didn't post about it for a week. And I finally did post it. I got the courage to post about it. I'm like, bro, people are not going to like me. They're like, it's going to be bad. And people were pretty supportive. But my agent straight told me, he was like, yeah, Gymshark, they kind of fell off. And it was literally brand after brand after brand telling me, like, like I even had a brand email. I'm like, well, we can maybe see about a contract after you recover from your injury and stuff like that. And even my agent, and this is someone that he stopped believing in me too, that I'd be like this big star or whatever everyone thought I'd be.
What is the agent? What has he got? He's got no skin in the game. Essentially, how about I just, I treat you well and just say, I wish you the best and I'm here if you need me. And
Yeah.
You know, that's just a silly thing to hear, right?
It was
An
rough.
agent. Yeah, that's silly.
It was rough.
It sounds like the whole world abandoned you at that point.
To be honest with you, that's exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
I had a few very close friends that were very, you know, there for me and just letting me know, like, you know, you can come back. If anybody can come back and do greater things, it's going to be you.
Yeah.
And I didn't believe that for myself, but I did have some friends believing that. And now that it's kind of coming true, it's like, dang, like, okay, right. But people ask me, they're like, if you could go back and change it, would you? Like, because I would have way bigger numbers if I didn't get hurt and I was training.
Sure.
You know? And I said, absolutely not. It opened my eyes to a lot. One, the industry. It's very cutthroat. They really don't care about you. My dad used to tell me, the one thing he used to tell me, he said, you know, college is the same way. Coaches, agents, businesses, they really don't. If you get lucky to have someone that honestly does care about you, awesome for you. But majority of them, they said, we're like cows. As long as you can produce milk, you can graze in the grass. As soon as you can't produce milk, we don't have any use for you. They kick you to the curb. So I was like, dang.
Yeah, we all kind of like to think of this sort of different side of things nowadays. Like, oh, it's changing, and people are starting to realize more that there's value in people and not just in dollar signs. But the truth is, that's just kind of sugarcoating it, isn't it? It's not really true. And you found out at a young age. So,
yeah. And I'm glad I did, because to be honest with you, I never thought I'd be the person to be like, change people's lives. The amount of recognition, DMs, comments, and I mean thousands of people telling me, like, you are an inspiration. You changed my life. Some girl sent me this long message saying that the moment she tore something, I think it was her ACL. She played college soccer. She said, I stopped going to the gym. I was done. I didn't ever want to touch the gym again. Years I was been done. She said, I saw your video of you in the gym and you had on a cast and you were working out still. She said, I got a gym membership that day. I got thousands of people telling me the inspiration you are because you worked through this. And now it makes me a little bit more relatable to people. I know what it feels like now. It's rough. Mentally. It's rough more mentally than physically.
I mean, you got a heck of a story to tell in such a short time.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, what you experienced in the last 3 years, really, or 4 years, or since off to college and kind of where you're at now. It's a lot of people take 20 years to come up with that much content. I mean, you're there. And we say content, right? Because everything's content these days. Yeah. But it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a story to tell.
Yeah.
And I think it's relatable too, because like you said, so many people go through that where injury kind of takes them out of their life, really. They don't really know where to go after that. Or you're a perfect example. Well, maybe it didn't necessarily take the same path, but what it provided you, in my opinion, might even be a better path. Don't you think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, bro, these brands are going to come back. They're going to be like, we're so sorry. I'm like, but I'm like, I don't know. Like,
Well, and you brought a bit more cautious this time around, right?
Oh, definitely.
I mean, what the guarantees are, and if you're going to be able to, if you're represented by a company that has the same values you have, because obviously those prior didn't. I mean, for them to turn your back on you, it's just, it's unscrupulous, really. I mean, you don't like to hear that at all, but it's worth noting, though. I mean, there's good companies and bad companies, just like people. I mean, it depends on, where we're at and what we're doing, but yeah, that's really crazy. It's like so much to talk about, but let's get back into the powerlifting.
Yeah. Because
that's really where we're at now. Your next step is states.
Yeah.
And you just broke the state deadlift record, but you're not done. I mean,
we're just getting started.
Coming out, just getting started.
Yeah.
Because this next, essentially a 12-week programming block you're in now, right? Because it's middle of November.
Yeah, November 5th.
Oh, shit. We're only about 7 weeks.
Yeah, 7 weeks out.
Yeah. But there's a ton of progress to be made there.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you feel like you're on this incline right now.
Newbie gains.
Yeah, right? Newbie. Right. That's what I say. Every time I go to the gym right now, I feel like I got newbie gains.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And your bench the other day was 175, I think, 170-ish. I think your deadlift record is what? Where is it at now?
The record is no. People are like, where are you at? I'm like,
I have no clue. They just
but I did 441 at the
441. That was your last pull the other day.
Yeah.
And then your squat. Do you remember what that was?
About 350, I think.
Yeah. And again, it went up like air. Of course, that was your biggest concern, wasn't it? The squat on your Achilles.
Yes. Yeah. The reason why I was able to bounce back so fast from my deadlift is because I didn't stop deadlifting. I had a few other videos go viral of me like doing 405 in my boot.
Oh,
my doctor was like, straight up, like, you need to chill out. Like, he had a rough time with me. I would not stay out of the gym. People in my comments, you're like, she's dumb. That's probably how she tore it. And I was like, okay. So but the squat, because it was so much more, movement, my Achilles was not flexible at all. I could not go. I have a video. I could only go maybe a few inches down before. It was rough.
Yeah, I would imagine that would be a tough one, even a confidence level, even
Oh,
though you knew
it
you got it,
sucked.
but even there in the meet,
Yeah, and
there's
I'm
a
like,
hesitation.
I was like, I used to rep 315. Now I can't even do a plate. It was rough.
Do you feel like in 7 weeks you can get that respectively back to where you were? Do you feel you still might be a little bit behind on states in that, looking forward, or do you feel like you're there? Do you feel like you're in the groove?
Well, that record's mine, so I'm about to go get that.
Okay,
I'm not,
so that's a done deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not as far as when it comes to records and stuff. As long as I have like something in front of me to chase after, I'm with it. So,
I just got the chills when you said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck all that.
Yeah.
That record is mine.
Yeah. I'm not worried about that. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna take some. I got to really lock in and just trusting my coach, which I do. And I did because I did 350 squat yesterday.
Yeah.
So and it was. I'll show you the videos. It was crazy.
Butter, I'm
He
sure.
was like, bro,
Yeah.
you can do 4.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, I can.
Yeah, so really you're really looking at almost 1150 total, 1200 total going into this if everything comes out the way it should. Well, I should say, let's see, 450. I'm guessing you're 200. Yeah, I mean you're right around 1100 pounds then once it's all said and done. I'm thinking. Yeah, which is elite level, by the way. Did you know what that meant?
No, yeah, I knew I was.
I'm kidding. Yeah.
I knew I was in 1,000-pound club,
Yeah.
and that's cool or whatever. But as far as that's, dope. But right now my goal is I'm getting bored of my anything starting with the 4 for my deadlift. It sounds boring to me now.
Yeah.
Anything starting with the 3 with my squat sounds boring.
I like that. Yeah, it's about centuries when you're moving up in powerlifting.
Yeah, I'm
isn't it?
like, because there's not many girls do 400 and up.
Oh no.
But there's a lot less doing 500 and up. So I'm trying to get in that group.
Yeah, and I like that. You're right. I mean, if you want to keep going on all levels, right?
Yeah.
Not only on athletically and in these numbers, but making sure that your brand stays where it's going to be as well. Listen, there's pressure there.
Yeah.
Because you're right. There are women doing that, and those are the ones you remember. Mm-hmm. Because it seems like I used to. Of course, I'm going to date myself a little bit, but getting 400 for 10 in a bench press back in the day was like nobody could do that.
Yeah.
Now everybody does that.
Right.
In my class, that is.
Man.
So it's like, wow, things have really changed. So you're right. I identify with that, drive that you have in that sense, because you do want to be recognized at that top percentage. And sometimes, sadly, to do that, you have to push your numbers.
Yeah.
In order to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. I'm,
know.
again, still blown away because there's just so much raw talent here.
Yeah.
I mean, you haven't really had the opportunity to go through a couple years of really good programming. You got the right coach in place.
Yeah.
Now, barring another injury, I mean, geez, oh, Pete, what's next year got in store for you? I'm sure you're thinking nationals. I'm sure you're thinking
I qualified.
worlds.
Yeah. I want that prime time though.
Oh, that's it. Well,
Yeah,
that's
like the little. That's my my coach will literally drop a few things in front of my face so I can be like, he knows how I am. He knows how I think.
Yeah, he knows how to motivate.
Yeah, he didn't want to tell me I don't know how to go maneuver through the powerlifting websites and stuff. But he was he called me. He's like, yeah, did you check? I'm like, check what? He's like, your deadlift. I'm like, no. He's like, yeah, you're 5th in the nation.
Yeah.
I said, for what? He's like, your deadlift. I'm like, what? But now I'm like, oh, that's not good enough. I want one. I want number 1 spot. So give me something to chase after.
Yeah, I mean, right? Motivate, and then we'll worry about what's after that. What's after that, I guess.
Yeah.
But you got things you got to get done still.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in a great spot, Cranon. To me, it's just like, to be you for a lot of people right now, and a lot of people that have been through the years and years of lifting weights, they look at you. There's an admiration there, and there's a little bit of reflection as well. Because we all had opportunity, and it just sounds like you've really sort of collected your experience at this point, and you've put good people around you. And now, boy, you put yourself in a real good position to realize what many of us never do, and that's called true potential.
Yeah.
And I think you're kind of there. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do. It's still hearing other people say it. I've had so many people. The first person that actually had enough you look at someone, they tell you obviously you've been there, you've been in the, fitness industry for a long time. So I can hear you say it. I'm just like, okay, he knows what he's talking about, but someone like my mom, she's like, you're gonna be great. And I'm just like, you're just saying that cause you're my mom. So I'm just like, oh, do you really know that? But the first person that ever had the background where I could actually trust his honest opinion on me was Bradley Martin.
Yeah.
He had a talk with me and he told me bro, you have no idea. Yeah. He was like, you don't even know your potential in this sport. And I'm just looking okay, yeah. So it's still, I'm starting to slowly believe it because I do have to remind myself, I look at other people's numbers and stuff and I'm like, dang, that's a lot. And then my coach was like, do you know how long those girls have been lifting?
Right.
I'm like, oh yeah. for years. They've been working on this sport for years. And then you come off an Achilles. You just now started a program. Like, technically, I've only been powerlifting training for a few months. And I just started the program maybe 2 months ago, a powerlifting program. He said, and you come in and you break a state record on your second attempt. No one does that.
Right.
It takes years for women to get to the numbers you've gotten to in a few months. So I was just like, that kind of puts in perspective for me, like, you know, mixing raw talent, genetics, and, you know, hard work together. I mean, that's a scary combo.
Well, I will say guys like Bradley Martin, and I don't know Bradley Martin, but I know him personally. Maybe someday we'll meet. You save those compliments for the right people now.
Yeah.
You know, those aren't dished out like an appetizer.
Yeah.
You say them because you mean them. But there is a bit of the truth behind it now is humility and patience, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's hard for a lot of the humility side of it's not easy. You have that. I know you do. We've talked enough. Now, do you have the patience? I mean, that really is where it kind of adds up.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be there if you're on the path you are now.
Yeah.
And have you thought about that? I know there's this fighter in you. I see it.
Yeah.
It's like, let's go 10 rounds right now.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's a path here, I guess, that's got some time built into it.
Yeah.
And where do you kind of find yourself in life right now with that?
Honestly, one thing that, I mean, still, I've been through, you know, I hate to be like that 23 to be like, I've been through so much. It's like, you're still young, but I've been through some stuff. You know, and one thing I'm learning is to enjoy the journey. All the ups and the downs, you know, that's what makes the reward that much better. You know, if I'm just coasting through and I'm just like, oh, like, you know, I found powerlifting and I did this and I got these records, like, that's cool, awesome story. But, you know, how can people relate to that? You know? Yeah. That's not super relatable, and I like to be able to relate to people, see things from different perspectives. I take pride in that, and, you know, this injury helped. You know, maybe, you know, not having the brands that I wanted to sponsor me. Hopefully they come back and they're just like, sorry, but, you know, all that stuff changed my perspective and really made me just appreciate the little stuff. So right now I'm honestly just enjoying the journey. I still have bad days in the gym, even enjoying that, because that's going to be when someone comes up to me and they're like, oh, like, I had a rough day and I don't know if I should keep going. I'm like, listen, I know exactly how you feel.
Right. I can relate.
I've been there.
Right.
I get it, you know? And I used to have friends be like, oh, I tore my ACL. And I'm like, you'll be fine. You'll bounce back. That doesn't help.
So right. No.
You know, I've been
exactly
there now.
Right.
So I'm just like, man, like, I wish I said something else, you know? Yeah. So patience is hard, but, you know, because I want to be on top fast, you know, but I'm just enjoying the journey.
Yeah, you know, and I know you are, and having that experience, you're right, really kind of resets your thoughts on a lot of things.
Yeah.
I think the big question, right, as I absorb this whole world now that's you.
Yeah.
My only question would be, and this is a big one.
All right.
Are you patient because you're young, right? Because people will doubt you.
Yeah.
Because you're young. And we know that a lot of young athletes, you know, I look at your mom right now, and she probably is familiar with a lot of young athletes as well throughout her life that are there 1 minute with all this potential, but life gets in the way. And we know what kind of life we're talking about. We're talking about that fast lane, that wanting to live life, and I'll get back to this someday. And, you know, and then you find yourself never back to it. And you always wonder where you would have been. And other people go, oh, you remember that Cranon girl? Whatever happened to her?
Yeah.
You know, do you think about that? Or did you just mentioned to me a minute ago, you've kind of lived your life. You had an opportunity, right? Traveling, enjoying life a little bit, going off to college. I mean, do you feel like you can be content enough right now?
100%.
Okay.
Absolutely. I've been through like every time any major like life things that like, you know, kind of I don't want to say mess up, but like, you know, puts a stunt in your like the road of success for you. I've been through the breakups, the heartbreaks. I've been through the mental health stuff. I've been through, you know, being a college athlete. I've been through major injuries. Like I've been through, you know, daddy issues. I've been through it all, you know? So right now I'm just so focused on just this goal. Yeah. I'm just like, so many people believe in me, and even like my followers and stuff like that. I never would have thought like I'd have people telling me like, bro, like you inspire me. Like I've always been the other girl telling other people that like, wow, like this girl, I want to be like her, you know? So I never had any powerlifters. I was like, wow. But just like fitness girls and stuff. That's why I started doing it. I was like, oh, like I want to look like that. You know, now I get to be my own gym goals.
Your own self. That's
yeah.
Right.
So no, I don't think I will.
I believe you. I knew the answer to that question, obviously.
Yeah.
Even if you would have said it differently, I would have said, no, that's not true.
Yeah.
Because I know you have this backstory and you lived a lot of life that allowed you kind of appreciate more where you're at now and settled you down a little bit and got you a little more uber focused on, okay, let's get the job done now. Because there's still plenty of time to get out there and enjoy the fruits of your labor, more or less. And that's kind of what you're putting in the time now to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really appreciate you coming on the show today.
Yeah.
I think, let's not forget. Mom's a PR, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're going to post all that too. But
Yeah.
why don't you say it right now and I'll post it all your Instagram and all your social media, because I think people need to follow you. More people do. And watch what is about to happen.
Yeah.
What are they?
Okay, so right now I'm just doing TikTok and Instagram. I will be doing YouTube and stuff, but that's a different talk for a different day. But my TikTok is CRANONN, and then my Instagram is CRANONNN. So extra N.
And I will post for everybody so they see this on all of the stuff and tag you and everything. And we're gonna put this out there. And I appreciate you coming on today. And our story is not being done being told yet either.
Yeah.
Because of course I'll be at States and I'll be in touch with you and maybe do some fun stuff with you too with Gym Life and Gym Life Media and stuff.
Yeah.
And anything we can do to lend to your brand, we're certainly going to do that. And in the meantime, get out there and kick some ass because we're ready to see it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. You're welcome.